Tonight, a West Macon neighborhood still dealing with the loss of India Davis. The Bibb Sheriff's Office is investigating after Davis was shot and killed Thursday. Investigators say a 15-year-old is now charged with felony murder and armed robbery. As the community grapples with the tragic loss, friends are remembering India Davis as a caregiver and an advocate for children. Maggie Fitzgerald is live on Adams Avenue. Maggie, what can you tell us about that shooting and about what India Davis meant to her community?
Frank, deputies say it all happened on the 2100 block of Adams Avenue Thursday afternoon. That's where they found 41-year-old India Norwood Davis shot near her car. Now, loved ones telling me today this is a devastating loss and telling me how they're remembering her as more than a number. Tonight, as the Bibb Sheriff's Office investigates, family, friends, and former colleagues now remembering India Norwood Davis and her service to others.
India was just a true caregiver, a true supporter, encourager, and just a consistent person in the lives of so many people who lacked consistency.
Davis spent years working with children and families at the Methodist Home for Children and Youth in Macon. Her former colleague, Cameron Bishop, is now president and CEO of Wesley Glen Ministries. He says she had a gift for helping people through their hardest days.
India was one of those people who had the gift of patience and could sit alongside someone as they grieved the loss or they worked through their trauma. But she was also that person that would celebrate with them when life went well.
Bishop says Davis, a mother herself, served as a mother figure to many others over the years. He says he often saw her stand up for the children she served, and now another teen is charged with killing her.
Welcome to the video, everyone. I'm doing a reaction here to a news clip out of Macon, where unfortunately this beautiful soul here was found dead near her car. Apparently, she was being robbed by a 15-year-old. And unfortunately, she was killed in that act. And as you were just hearing from everyone that was, giving a testament to who she was. She spent years helping children. She worked, in a capacity to where, she was like like a mentor to kids and stuff. And as the guy was describing, she had a lot of patience. And it's just sad that, these are the type of people who ultimately, find themselves on the wrong end of things, just because someone else's stupidity, honestly. So 15-year-old, it's no telling what this 15-year-old's background is and, what he was into and all that. But, obviously he was into robberies and, maybe she was on her way to work or, on her way to anywhere, just minding her business. And, the guy seen an opportunity and it ended in her death. So, I always like to offer my condolences to the family of, these victims. And we need to get a little bit more information here from this news clip.
The question I asked myself is, what might have been different had India and this young man had the opportunity to meet each other under different circumstances? What would the outcome have been? And I just hope and pray that it would have been very different. That I think India would have had the gift to potentially support this young man in ways that he might need in his life.
And the sheriff's office says that 15-year-old suspect's parents turned him in late Thursday night. He's being charged with felony murder and armed robbery. Now, officials say they will not be releasing his name at the time because he's a juvenile. He's being held in the Regional Youth Detention Center. We're live in Macon. Maggie Fitzgerald, 13.
So the parents ended up turning in their 15-year-old for being accused of committing this murder. And of course, they're not going to release his name because he is a juvenile. But charged with murder and assault with a deadly weapon. Well, not assault, but robbery. Just have to wait to get a little bit more information. But it just it just goes along the same lines. There's a lot of stuff or a lot of narratives that I've already said in previous videos. These kids may come from a good home, but it's just something that triggers or sets them off, and they feel like they have to go out and do things like this in order to get by, or try to get some type of prosperity in a certain type of way. I'm not sure exactly, again, I'm not sure if it's mental capacity, not even sure the race of this kid. I can only assume. And like the guy was saying, if India had met him in, like a different light, or in a different situation, maybe she could have helped him change his life around from what he was, currently doing. And we do know, in Georgia, there is, robberies. I mean, this is anywhere, but we do know like home invasions, robberies, and, assaults with deadly weapons are, very, very common. And, usually sometimes, majority of the time, it ends in someone dying, Done stories in Georgia where, people driving Ubers were killed, and, people selling PlayStations end up getting shot. And so, that's just, I hate to say, but it's a thing now. But when we get more information, we'll definitely come back and touch on this. Just wanted to bring some awareness to what is, going on in that community. I know a lot of people are mourning in that community because she seemed like a very nice person. I know they did mention that she does have kids, so, of course, they're going to have to deal with the after effects of not having their mother. And again, just senseless violence. And then especially coming from, a young man that's 15 years old. It's just like you set yourself up to spend your whole adulthood institutionalized. So really nothing good came out of this whole situation. And I'm pretty sure, whatever you robbed her for, it wasn't enough as far as like to, justify, her life being taken. Maybe she gave up a fight, or, was a little struggle, and the guy panicked and, did what he did. But again, at the same time, the devil works, and, people of all age groups. So, he could just have some type of demon on him that, led him to do this type of thing. But again, my condolences to the family, and, for her children. Hopefully they're able to, after the whole, after they mourn, and, you more than likely will never get over this, but hopefully they're able to get back to some type of normalcy within their life, and, try to find some type of peace in this situation. Um, and hopefully the justice system doesn't fail them, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Again, if you like my content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This is Justin Paul. Peace.